Information Officer here at U.S. Consulate General, Ho Chi Minh City. We know that applying for a U.S. visa can sometimes feel long, complicated, and even expensive. So today we're here to help answer some of your questions. We asked for your visa questions on our Facebook page. Today, we have taken the most frequently asked questions, and we are fortunate enough to have colleagues from the Consular section, Charlie, who will help answer some of your questions here. So let's start with Charlie, who works in our non-immigrant visa section. This is the section that handles tourist, business, and student visas. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, Bintu. So, xin chào các quý vị. My name is Charlie, and like Bintu said, I work in the non-immigrant visa section. So if you come in to the consulate for an interview, I or one of my colleagues will be interviewing you to determine whether you qualify for a U.S. visa.
Let's start at the beginning. People have questions, of course. So the first one, what form do I need to submit to apply for a U.S. non-immigrant visa, and where can I find it?
So when you apply for a U.S. non-immigrant visa, you always start with the form DS-160 or the DS-160. This form, whether you are applying for your first visa or you've had a lot of visas already, is how you always begin the process. And it requires that you input information about the type of visa that you're applying for, your destination and how long you plan to travel for, and various information about your family, your education, employment history, and travel history. And the form is on ustraveldocs.com, or you can link to it through the consulate's website.
Thank you, that's helpful. What if I don't speak English or I've never completed this form before?
Homestyle, that's okay. We know that the DS-160 can seem really intimidating, especially if it's the first time that you've done it. That's why we have a couple features that we've either introduced or that we're working on to help make it easier for non-English speakers. The first is that you can translate the ustraveldocs.com website into Vietnamese so that you have the instructions there in Vietnamese. We're also working on an instructional video to how to complete the DS-160 that will take applicants step by step through the DS-160 in Vietnamese so that applicants can listen to the instructions and then put their answers down in English. We know that the process is complicated, but we also think that visa agents tell applicants that the process is far more complicated than it is and then charge them hundreds or even thousands of dollars to do this process that many applicants could simply do themselves.
Thank you. That would be really helpful, and I'm sure people are looking forward to that. What are some of the benefits of completing my own DS-160?
So the first major benefit is that you save yourself a lot of money. We know a lot of applicants see the DS-160 as very complicated and go to visa agents to do it for them, who charge a lot of money. But the real benefit is that when you do the DS-160 yourself, you know all of the information that goes in, and therefore you know what's true and what's not, and you know the information that you're representing to the consular officer. Because even if someone else entered the information for you, you alone are responsible for that information. And if there's incorrect information, that can hurt not just your current application, but applications in the future too.
Wow, that's really good to know. You mentioned incorrect information. What do you mean when you say incorrect information?
There's a lot of different examples of incorrect information. There's a lot of rumors and myths swirling around out there about how to go through the visa application process, what makes a good visa applicant. So we really see everything. We see people who are married, but they come in and tell us they're single, or they're single and they tell us they're married. We see people who have relatives in the US but say they have none, or they make up a relative who they say they're going to visit when really they have a different motive of travel. We have people who make up international travel because they think that's what we want to hear, or they'll even book a big expensive trip because they think we want to see that they've traveled internationally. So all of these are examples of just sort of misinformation or misconceptions that people have about the visa process. And the thing to remember is that the consular officer is just trying to determine your motive of travel. So the best way to go through the interview is just to tell your own story and tell it truthfully.
Thank you, Charlie. But what if there's information that I don't want the consular officer to know? What should I do?
My job and my colleague's job is to really just determine that you are going to follow the rules of the visa that you're applying for. So any sort of misrepresentation of information hurts your chances of getting the visa. There's no magic formula for getting a visa. We just want the applicant to tell their story, tell it truthfully, and allow us to make a decision with the best information that there is.
How much does it really cost to schedule a visa appointment? Should it cost anything?
So the only cost to get a visa appointment is the MRV fee, which is listed on ustraveldocs.com. There's no other fee to schedule an appointment, no matter what anyone tells you. It's just the MRV fee. So, and we've also received a lot of questions, I know, about our wait times. And the COVID-19 pandemic really disrupted travel and consular operations all over the world. So as we return to normal, we expect that our wait time should steadily decrease so that you can get your appointment and your visa as quickly as possible.
So what documents will I need?
So the only documents you'll need for your interview are listed on ustraveldocs.com. They vary by visa class, but generally speaking, most visa interviews don't require many documents, if at all. We have applicants come in all the time with whole sets of documents that they've purchased from visa agents, whether they're savings books, photos, bank statements, any number of things that they really don't need, that they've spent a lot of money on. And these documents actually might hurt the applicant's chance of getting a visa, because even if the story you're telling is true, if you're showing fake documents to a consular officer, it hurts your credibility as an applicant.
I heard that some visa agents are better than others. Who do you recommend?
Well, the consulate doesn't maintain relationships with any visa agent. And if visa agents say that they have a relationship with the consulate, this is not true, and it should be a big red flag for our visa applicants. No visa agent can guarantee you a visa. And we know that some visa agents do offer services that applicants like to use. So we just want our applicants to make sure that when they do use a visa agent, they're not being scammed or spending far more money than they need to.
Now that we know that no visa agent can guarantee a visa, I have another question that's related to this. A visa agent filled out my application for me, but they made a mistake and I didn't get the visa. Now the agent won't give me my money back. What can I do?
So unfortunately, we hear stories like this all the time. They're quite common. And there's nothing we can do at the consulate because, again, we don't maintain relationships with any visa agents. But if you fill out the DS-160 yourself, then at least you know all of the information that's in there and you haven't spent as much money as you would if you went through an agent.
What is the best way to behave at a visa interview?
The best way to behave is just to be yourself. We know that the process is very stressful. You have to wait in that long line. You go up to the window and there's an American speaking Vietnamese with an American accent that you can't understand. We understand all of that. We just want you to be yourself, to tell the truth, help us understand why you want to go to the US, and help us determine if you will follow the rules of your visa class so that we can make a decision.
Okay, I get all of that, but really, who determines who gets a visa and who doesn't get a visa?
So the people who get a visa are the ones who the consular officer determines will travel to the US, follow the terms of their visa, and then return to Vietnam. It's that simple. There's no magic formula, but that's what we are examining when we interview you.
Thank you, Charlie, for taking this time to answer frequently asked questions about the non-immigrant visa process. And a special thank you to Charlie for joining us today for this session of Ask a Consul. We hope that you were able to get some really good responses from your frequently asked questions on all of our consular processes. We also look forward to welcoming you another time for our next Ask a Consul. If you love the responses, enjoyed watching this video, or found some useful information during this video, leave a comment or a like in the comment section. Thank you.